Hello and welcome. 6 days ago, I spotted a brilliant rook sacrifice, one I thought I would never catch in a million years. The game was super intense and super aggressive. White came with a charging kingside pawn storm, putting some pressure on my king, but I was just not going to sit back. I launched my own queenside pawn storm to counter, and the finish was nothing short of spectacular. Okay, now let's take a look at the game. It started with a4 and I responded with the Carokann. It develops his knight, and what I like to do is to take, after they take back, I develop the knight, and this is an invitation to the Carokann variation, where if they take my knight, I simply recapture with the a-pawn. He does not play it though. I attack his knight, and initially I thought that maybe he wanted to try the alien gambit. He does not play it either. He moves his knight back. Now I bring up my bishop, attacking his queen, and my idea is, if you ever develop your knight, I'm going to take this knight, and after your pawn recaptures, you have a very broad pawn structure. If you block with the bishop, I simply trade the bishop and continue my development. He does none of that. He attacks my bishop instead. I move back. He attacks my bishop once again. I move back. Now he develops his bishop. I simply play the e6 to make his bishop a little bit sad. He develops his knight. I develop my bishop. He brings his other knight into the game. I castled, of course. He brings his bishop out, and now it's starting to look like maybe he wanted to develop the queen and castle kingside. So I started launching my pawns on his queen side, and here I thought that maybe he would try pawn h3 with the idea to make sure that his king in the future would be safe on the queen side. Instead, he plays h4. I simply develop my queen. He developed his queen, and in this position it looks like he's gonna castle. I bring my knight out. He plays h5, and it's clear that he wants to attack with the g5. I moved my knight out of the way, and my idea is, if he ever plays g5, I would at least try to close things down on the king side. He prepares with the rook move. I took the knight. He takes back, and I block with the bishop. He plays g5. I close things down. He pushed his pawn. I took, and here he finds a really nice tactic. He take my pawn with the bishop. The idea is, if I take, this bishop would be hanging. First, I took the bishop. He takes back with the knight, and I pinned his bishop to the king. He took my bishop. I took his bishop with check. He blocked with the knight, otherwise he would have lost it. And here I realized this while I'm analyzing the game, that this move actually wins the knight. Although the engine says the move I played in the game is the best, which is takes. He took back. I took the pawn with check. He had to move the king, and I attacked his queen. In this position, this is a tricky move. If I ever move the rook, I'll get mated on g7. So I gave a check with my queen, and here I made a move which I do regret. I offer the queen trade, and in this position you don't really want to offer a queen trade because the white king doesn't really have a safe place to go. He took my queen, I took back, and he attacked my rook. I defended my rook. He defended this pawn. I thought it would have been better to take this pawn, because at the very least with his rook here, the rook would have been a little bit more active. I gave a check. He moved his king back, and I played rook d2. My idea was to bring the other rook and try to eat all his pawns. He attacked my pawns with his rook, and here he's threatening to take, and if I take back, he would take this, and at the same time it's also threatening just to take this one. So I brought my rook back to defend against both threats. He took the pawn. I had to take his rook first, and of course he has to take back, and now I take. He attacked my pawn. I moved it so that the other pawn defends it. He kept applying pressure to that pawn. I defended with the rook, and here I thought that my idea would be to bring my king out and somehow try to push some pressure on his pawns. He moved his king upwards, and I continued with my plan. I brought my king out, and here he defends. And I suddenly realized that, wait a minute, if I take, he can take my rook, but then I would push the pawn, and then this square would be actually attacked, and there's no way he's stopping my pawn from promoting. And as soon as I take, my opponent quickly captured my rook, and I thought that maybe what he thought I would play is takes, but then he would have been able to defend the back rank with this rook. So I pushed my pawn, and then I believe he gave a check. I blocked with the pawn, he took, I took back, and he resigned in this position.